you stuck dreaming big but never taking the first step? What if the secret to unlocking your potential isn't waiting for motivation, but forcing yourself to act right now? In this powerful video from ZENLIGHT 8, we dive into Napoleon Hill's timeless wisdom to show you how to crush procrastination, conquer fear, and build unshakable discipline for real-world success. Stick around until the end to discover practical strategies you can apply today to transform your life. Don't miss out, subscribe to ZENLIGHT 8 and let's start taking action together. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, uncharted wilderness, your dreams shimmering like a distant oasis on the horizon. You know exactly where you want to go, but your feet remain rooted to the ground, paralyzed by the weight of doubt, the whisper of fear, or the seductive promise of tomorrow. This is the story of countless lives, potential untapped, ambitions unrealized, all because of one fatal misconception that success begins with inspiration. The truth, however, is far more liberating and empowering. Success doesn't wait for motivation to strike, it is forged in the crucible of action. The moment you take that first step, no matter how small or imperfect, you set in motion a chain reaction that transforms dreams into reality. Action is not just the key to success, it is the very foundation upon which all progress is built. In a world obsessed with waiting for the perfect moment, those who dare to act, regardless of how they feel, are the ones who shape their destinies. This truth, rooted in the timeless philosophy of Napoleon Hill, is not just a motivational platitude but a profound principle of life that resonates deeply with the American spirit of grit, resilience, and relentless pursuit of the possible. The myth that you must feel ready before you act is a trap that ensnares millions. In American culture, we celebrate the self-made individual, the entrepreneur who builds an empire from nothing, the artist who creates a masterpiece against all odds, the athlete who rises from obscurity to greatness. But what we often overlook is the messy, unglamorous reality behind these stories. None of these icons waited for a surge of inspiration to begin. They acted. They moved forward despite uncertainty, fear, or lack of resources. Consider the story of Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx, who turned a simple idea into a billion-dollar business. She didn't have an MBA, a network of investors, or a clear roadmap. She had an idea and the audacity to act on it, cutting up pantyhose in her apartment, pitching to skeptical retailers, and persisting through rejection after rejection. Her success wasn't born from waiting for the stars to align, it came from taking action, one determined step at a time. This is the essence of Hill's philosophy: action precedes clarity. When you move, the path reveals itself. Each step uncovers new insights, opens new doors, and builds the confidence that only comes from doing. This principle is not just about achieving external success, it's a profound philosophy of living. In a fast-paced, distraction-filled world, the ability to act decisively is a rebellion against the inertia of modern life. We live in an era where endless scrolling, binge-watching, and overanalyzing can consume hours, days, even years. The average American spends over 2 hours a day on social media, according to recent studies, often procrastinating on the very tasks that could change their lives. Yet, the antidote to this paralysis is simple: movement. Action cuts through the fog of indecision like a blade. It's not about having all the answers up front, it's about trusting that the answers will come as you go. This resonates with the American ethos of pragmatism, the belief that progress is made not through endless theorizing but through rolling up your sleeves and getting to work. Think of the pioneers who crossed the continent in covered wagons, not because they were certain of what lay ahead, but because they believed in the power of moving forward. Their legacy lives on in every entrepreneur, student, or dreamer who chooses action over hesitation. But why is action so transformative? At its core, action rewires your mind. Neuroscience backs this up. When you take a step toward a goal, your brain releases dopamine, the feel-good chemical that fuels motivation. In other words, motivation doesn't spark action, action sparks motivation. This creates a virtuous cycle. The more you act, the more motivated you become, and the clearer your path grows. This is why Hill emphasized that motivation follows movement. Consider a writer staring at a blank page, paralyzed by the fear of imperfection. The moment they write a single sentence, no matter how clumsy, the mental dam breaks. Words flow, ideas emerge, and what seemed impossible becomes possible. This principle applies universally whether you're launching a startup, training for a marathon, or simply trying to declutter your home. The first step, however small, is the catalyst for progress. In today's world where instant gratification is king, this lesson is more critical than ever. Americans are bombarded with quick fixes and overnight success stories, but real achievement is built on the slow, steady power of consistent action. To apply this philosophy in your life, start by embracing the discomfort of the unknown. Action doesn't require certainty, it requires courage. Begin with what he'll call definite action, a purposeful step toward a specific goal. For example, if you've been dreaming of starting a side hustle, don't wait until you have a perfect business plan. Take one concrete action today. Register a domain name, sketch a logo, or email a potential mentor. These small moves build momentum, and momentum is the engine of success. In my own life, I've seen this truth play out. Years ago, I wanted to pivot my career but felt overwhelmed by the uncertainty. Instead of waiting for clarity, I took a single step. I enrolled in an online course. That one action led to new skills, new connections, and eventually a new career path. The lesson? You don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step, as Martin Luther King Jr. famously said. This is a call to every American dreamer. Stop overthinking, stop waiting, and start doing. Your future self will thank you. This philosophy also invites critical thinking, a cornerstone of personal growth. Too often, we accept the narrative that success requires a spark of genius or a stroke of luck. But Hill's teachings challenge us to question this. Why do we assume we need to feel inspired to act? Why do we let the fear of failure stop us? By interrogating these beliefs, we uncover a liberating truth: we have the power to create our own momentum. This aligns with the American value of self-reliance, the idea that you are the architect of your own destiny. Look at someone like Elon Musk, who didn't wait for permission to revolutionize industries. He acted, building, failing, iterating, and acting again. His story isn't about being fearless, it's about refusing to let fear dictate his actions. This mindset is accessible to all of us. Whether you're a student in Chicago, a single parent in Dallas, or an entrepreneur in Silicon Valley, you can choose to act today, right now, in pursuit of your goals. But action isn't just about personal gain, it's about living with purpose. In a society that often equates success with wealth or fame, Hill's philosophy reminds us that true success is about impact. When you act, you engage with the world in a way that thought alone never allows. You create, you connect, you contribute. Consider the volunteers who rebuild communities after hurricanes, or the teachers who show up every day to inspire the next generation. Their actions, often unglamorous, ripple outward, changing lives. This is the deeper meaning of action. It's not just about what you achieve, but about who you become and how you shape the world around you. In 2025, as America navigates economic shifts and technological upheaval, this principle is a beacon. Whether you're adapting to AI-driven workplaces or chasing a passion project, action is your greatest asset. It's the difference between being a bystander in your own life and being the hero of your story. Yet, action alone isn't enough. It must be disciplined, intentional, and persistent. Hill's philosophy isn't about reckless leaps but about calculated steps that build over time. In modern America, where distractions are relentless, this requires focus. Set clear goals, break them into daily tasks, and commit to showing up even when the initial excitement fades. This is where the rubber meets the road. The entrepreneur who launches a business doesn't succeed because of one bold move, but because of thousands of small, consistent actions: emails sent, products refined, lessons learned. This is the American dream in action. Not a lottery ticket, but a journey of effort, resilience, and growth. As we reflect on the power of action, we're reminded that it's not just a strategy, it's a way of life. It's about refusing to let fear, doubt, or procrastination steal your potential. It's about embracing the uncertainty of the journey and trusting that each step forward brings you closer to your dreams. In a world that tempts us to wait for the perfect moment, action is an act of defiance, a declaration that you are ready to claim your future. So, take that first step today. Write the email, make the call, start the project. The path will reveal itself, and with it, the confidence and clarity you've been waiting for. This is the first lesson in unlocking your potential, but it's only the beginning. Next, we'll explore how to conquer the fear and doubt that threaten to hold you back, arming you with the tools to move forward with unshakable courage. Fear is a shadow that looms over every dream, every ambition, every step toward a better life. It whispers insidious lies. What if you fail? What if you're not good enough? What if you embarrass yourself? For too many, these whispers become chains, anchoring them to a life of hesitation and unfulfilled potential. But here's the truth. Rooted in the wisdom of Napoleon Hill and echoed by the resilient spirit of American dreamers, fear is a liar. It thrives in the stillness of inaction, growing stronger with every moment you delay. Yet, the instant you take action, however small, however trembling, fear begins to crumble. It's not about banishing fear entirely. It's about refusing to let it dictate your choices. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to move forward despite it. In a culture that celebrates boldness and perseverance, this principle is a clarion call to every American. Don't let fear write your story. Act and watch it lose its power. This truth is not just a motivational spark, but a profound philosophy of life. One that transforms doubt into determination and failure into a stepping stone toward greatness. The power of fear lies in its ability to distort reality. It magnifies the risks, exaggerates the consequences, and convinces you that staying still is safer than moving forward. But Hill's teachings challenge us to see fear for what it is. A paper tiger, fierce in appearance but flimsy when confronted. In modern America, where the pressure to succeed is relentless, whether in the tech hubs of Silicon Valley, the small businesses of Main Street, or the classrooms of suburban high schools, fear can feel like an ever-present companion. The fear of failure, of judgment, of not measuring up in a hyper-competitive world can paralyze even the most ambitious. Yet, history and contemporary examples prove that those who achieve greatness don't escape fear. They act in spite of it. Take J.K. Rowling, who faced rejection after rejection before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. Living on welfare, battling self-doubt, she could have let fear stop her. Instead, she kept writing, kept submitting, kept acting. Her story isn't about being fearless, it's about being relentless. This is the American way. Not waiting for fear to vanish but pushing through it, one determined step at a time. Why does action dismantle fear? Because fear feeds on the unknown. When you hesitate, your mind spirals into worst-case scenarios, each more daunting than the last. But when you act, you engage with reality. You replace imagination with experience, doubt with knowledge. This is where critical thinking comes into play. Ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Can I handle it? In almost every case, the answer is yes. Most failures are not catastrophic, they're recoverable. A bad pitch doesn't end your career. It teaches you how to refine your approach. A rejected manuscript doesn't mean you're talentless. It means you're one step closer to finding the right publisher. This perspective aligns with the American ethos of resilience, the belief that setbacks are not the end but the beginning of growth. Consider the story of Thomas Edison, who famously failed thousands of times before perfecting the light bulb. Each failure was a lesson, a clarification of what didn't work, bringing him closer to what would. His mindset wasn't one of defeat but of discovery, a testament to the power of action over fear. To apply this in your life, start by reframing fear as a signal, not a stop sign. When you feel that knot in your stomach, whether it's before a job interview, a public speech, or launching a new venture, recognize it as a sign that you're on the cusp of growth. Then, take one small action to break the spell. If you're terrified of speaking in public, don't aim for a TED Talk right away. Start by sharing an idea in a small meeting or joining a local Toastmasters club. Each action chips away at fear's foundation, proving to your mind that you're capable of more than you thought. This approach is backed by psychology. Exposure therapy, a proven method for overcoming phobias, works by gradually confronting the source of fear. In 2025, as Americans navigate a world of rapid change, AI transforming jobs, economic uncertainty looming, this ability to act despite fear is more vital than ever. Whether you're pivoting careers or chasing a passion, the first step is always the hardest, but it's also the most liberating. Failure, too, must be redefined. In American culture, we often glorify success while stigmatizing failure, but Hill's philosophy invites us to see failure as feedback, not finality. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than you can count. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first TV job, deemed unfit for television. She didn't let that define her. She used it as fuel to hone her craft. Failure taught her resilience, adaptability, and the importance of authenticity, qualities that made her a media titan. This mindset is a form of philosophical rebellion against a culture that demands perfection. By embracing failure as a teacher, you free yourself from the fear of judgment and open the door to growth. Practically, this means analyzing your setbacks with curiosity. not shame. If a project flops, ask, what went wrong? What can I do differently? This reflective practice turns mistakes into stepping stones, aligning with the American value of learning by doing. Living this philosophy requires intention. Surround yourself with stories of those who've overcome fear, biographies, podcasts, or even conversations with mentors. In my own life, I once hesitated to launch a project because I feared it wouldn't be perfect. Reading about people like Steve Jobs, who shipped imperfect products and iterated later, inspired me to act. That first step, though scary, led to opportunities one couldn't have imagined. You can do the same. Write down your fears, confront them head-on, and take one action to prove them wrong. Over time, you'll find that fear, once a towering giant, becomes a manageable companion. This is the path to an unbreakable spirit, one that thrives not because it's fearless, but because it's fearless in action. If fear is the shadow that stalls progress, procrastination is the thief that steals time itself. It's the silent saboteur that disguises itself as preparation, perfectionism, or the need for just one more day to get ready. But every moment you delay, every tomorrow you promise yourself, is a moment you'll never reclaim. Time is the one resource you can't renew, and procrastination is its greatest enemy. In the American pursuit of the dream, whether it's building a business, earning a degree, or simply living with purpose, procrastination is the gap between where you are and where you could be. Yet, Hill's wisdom offers a way out. Action, even imperfect, is the antidote to delay. By committing to small, immediate steps, you can break the cycle of procrastination and reclaim control of your life. This isn't just about productivity. It's about honoring your potential and living with the urgency that every day counts. Procrastination is insidious because it feels harmless in the moment. Checking social media for just 5 minutes, binge-watching a show instead of working on a goal, or endlessly researching instead of starting. These seem like small indulgences, but they compound, stealing hours, days, even years. Studies show Americans spend an average of 145 minutes daily on social media, often at the expense of meaningful progress. Procrastination thrives on the illusion of control. You tell yourself you're preparing, waiting for the perfect conditions, or avoiding risk. But the truth is, perfection is a myth, and waiting for it only strengthens the habit of inaction. Hill's philosophy cuts through this deception. One imperfect action is worth more than 100 perfect intentions. This resonates with the American spirit of pragmatism, the belief that progress comes from doing, not dreaming. The 5-minute rule is a powerful tool to combat procrastination. Commit to working on a task for just 5 minutes, no pressure, no expectations. The beauty of this approach is that starting is often the hardest part. Once you begin, momentum takes over. A writer who commits to 5 minutes of writing may find themselves crafting a full page. A student who starts studying for 5 minutes may dive into an hour of focused work. This aligns with behavioral science. The Zeigarnik effect suggests that starting a task creates a psychological need to finish it. In my own experience, I used the 5-minute rule to overcome procrastination on a daunting project. I told myself I'd just outline one idea. 5 minutes turned into an hour, and that small action sparked a chain of progress that led to completion. This is a strategy anyone can apply, whether you're a busy parent in Atlanta, an entrepreneur in Seattle, or a student in Miami. But breaking procrastination requires more than tactics. It demands a mindset shift. You must reject the idea that conditions must be perfect to begin. In 2025, with distractions at an all-time high, notifications, streaming platforms, endless news cycles, this is harder but more essential than ever. The American dream isn't built on waiting for the right moment. It's built on creating it. Look at Jeff Bezos, who started Amazon from his garage with no guarantee of success. He didn't wait for the internet to mature or for funding to fall into his lap. He acted imperfectly and iterated along the way. This philosophy invites critical thinking. Why am I delaying? What's the real cost of waiting? Often, procrastination is fear in disguise. Fear of failure, judgment, or discomfort. By naming it, you strip it of its power and open the door to action. Practically, this means taking control of your environment. Distractions are the allies of procrastination, And in America's tech-driven culture, they're everywhere. Set boundaries. Silence notifications, designate tech-free hours, or use apps to block distracting sites. Create a schedule that prioritizes your most important tasks first, ideally in the morning when willpower is strongest. Break big goals into small, manageable steps to avoid overwhelm. For example, if you're launching a podcast, don't aim to record a season in one go. Start with one episode script, then one recording session. These micro-actions build momentum and make the impossible feel achievable. Accountability is also key. Share your goals with a friend, join a mastermind group, or hire a coach. In American culture, community is a powerful force. Think of the support networks behind every startup or grassroots movement. By making your commitments public, you create a sense of responsibility that's harder to ignore. Procrastination isn't just a time management issue. It's a philosophical one. Every delay is a betrayal of your potential, a choice to prioritize comfort over growth. Hill's teachings remind us that time is finite, and every moment wasted is a moment stolen from your future. This urgency is a call to live intentionally, to treat each day as a chance to move closer to your dreams. In a world that tempts us to drift, action is an act of rebellion. It's about saying no to excuses and yes to possibility. Whether you're rebuilding after a setback or chasing a bold vision, the choice to act now, imperfectly, courageously, sets you apart. This is the heart of the American spirit. Not waiting for permission, but seizing the moment and making it yours. As we move forward, having tackled fear and procrastination, we're ready to explore the next critical step: building the discipline to sustain your actions. Discipline is the bridge between fleeting motivation and lasting success, and it's where dreams begin to take shape. Let's dive into how to train yourself to show up day after day and turn your vision into reality. Imagine waking up each morning with a fire in your belly, not because you feel inspired, but because you've trained yourself to show up day after day, no matter what. Picture facing life's inevitable pain, heartbreak, failure, rejection, and instead of letting it crush you, you transform it into a powerful force that propels you forward. This is the essence of building self-discipline and harnessing pain as motivation, two pillars of Napoleon Hill's philosophy that turn dreams into reality. In a world that glorifies fleeting motivation and shies away from discomfort, choosing discipline over emotion and pain as a catalyst for growth is a radical act of strength. These principles aren't just about achieving goals. They're about forging a life of resilience, purpose, and unshakable self-belief. As we continue our journey from mastering emotional control to taking decisive action, let's dive into these transformative ideas, weaving together philosophy, real-world stories, and practical tools to help you thrive in the fast-paced, challenge-filled landscape of 2025. Self-discipline is the backbone of success, the quiet force that keeps you moving when motivation fades, doubts creep in, or life throws curveballs. In American culture, we celebrate the overnight success story, the startup that skyrockets, the athlete who dominates, the artist who goes viral. But behind every triumph lies an unglamorous truth: discipline. It's the commitment to do the work, day in and day out, regardless of how you feel. Motivation is fickle, a spark that flares and fades. Discipline, however, is a steady flame, burning even in the darkest moments. Hill understood this deeply. Success isn't about waiting for the perfect mood, but about acting with intention, no matter the circumstances. This resonates with the American ethos of grit, the belief that hard work and perseverance outshine talent or luck. As Calvin Coolidge once said, "Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent." Consider Lena, a 29-year-old single mother in Phoenix working toward a nursing degree. Between raising her son, working night shifts, and studying, she often felt exhausted, her motivation drained. There were days she wanted to skip class or put off assignments, tempted by the comfort of rest. But Lena had built discipline through small, consistent habits. She committed to studying for 30 minutes each morning, no matter how tired she was. She set her alarm 15 minutes early to review flashcards, even on tough days. These tiny acts weren't glamorous, but they compounded. Over time, Lena's grades improved, her confidence grew, and she graduated with honors. Her discipline wasn't about grand gestures, but about showing up consistently, proving that small, intentional actions build unshakable strength. Research from the University of Pennsylvania supports this. Consistent habits increase self-control by 27%, creating a foundation for long-term success. Discipline is especially crucial in 2025, where distractions are relentless. The average American checks their phone 96 times a day, according to a 2024 study, often derailing focus. Social media, streaming platforms, and endless notifications tempt us to trade progress for instant gratification. But discipline is the antidote. It's what separates those who dream from those who do. Think of Kobe Bryant, whose legendary work ethic defined his career. He didn't rely on motivation to wake up at 4 a.m. for workouts. He relied on discipline, a commitment to his craft that made him a basketball icon. You don't need to be an NBA star to follow this path. Whether you're a student in Boston, an entrepreneur in Austin, or a parent in Omaha, discipline is your superpower. It's the choice to write one page, run 1 mile, or learn one skill, even when you'd rather scroll X or binge Netflix. Building discipline starts with small, deliberate habits. Begin with a single, non-negotiable daily action. Making your bed, reading 10 pages, or walking 10 minutes. Consistency is key. Studies show it takes 66 days on average to form a habit. These small wins build self-trust, the belief that you'll follow through on your promises to yourself. This self-trust is the bedrock of resilience, especially in America's high-pressure culture, where setbacks are inevitable. Discipline also requires critical thinking. Ask, what's stopping me from acting? Am I prioritizing comfort over growth? By questioning your excuses, you expose them as flimsy and reclaim your power. Lena, for example, realized her exhaustion was real but not an excuse to quit. She adjusted, studying in short bursts and rewarding herself with small treats, like a coffee after a study session. This balance, effort paired with self-compassion, made her discipline sustainable. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's about progress. You'll miss days, stumble, or feel unmotivated. That's human. The key is to restart without shame. Hill's philosophy emphasizes that every action, no matter how small, moves you closer to your goal. In a workplace context, this is gold. American employers value reliability, showing up on time, meeting deadlines, staying focused. A 2024 LinkedIn study found that disciplined employees are 35% more likely to be promoted. When you commit to consistent effort, you signal strength not just to others but to yourself. Discipline transforms you from someone who hopes for success into someone who creates it, one intentional choice at a time. But what fuels this discipline when life gets tough? That's where pain becomes a powerful teacher. Pain, whether it's the sting of rejection, the ache of failure, or the weight of loss, is an inevitable part of the human experience. Most people run from it, numbing it with distractions or letting it define them. But Hill's wisdom invites us to embrace pain as a catalyst, a force that can destroy or propel you depending on how you respond. Those who achieve greatness don't avoid pain. They harness it, turning adversity into fuel for growth. This idea resonates deeply with the American narrative of overcoming odds, from the pioneers who braved harsh winters to the civil rights leaders who faced violence with courage. Pain, when channeled, becomes a motivator stronger than any cheerleader or vision board. As the philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche said, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." Take Andre, a 35-year-old chef in New Orleans. After his restaurant failed during an economic downturn, he faced crushing debt and public criticism on X, with reviewers calling his food overrated. The pain was visceral, years of work gone. Most would have retreated, bitter and defeated. But Andre chose a different path. He saw the failure as a teacher, not a verdict. The pain of losing his dream pushed him to rethink his approach. He took a job as a line cook, humbling but strategic, to learn new techniques. He saved every penny, studied market trends, and quietly planned a comeback. 2 years later, he opened a food truck, focusing on bold, affordable dishes. It became a local sensation, earning rave reviews and a loyal following. Andre's story isn't about avoiding pain, but about using it. The sting of failure drove him to work harder, think smarter, and grow stronger. His pain became his power. In 2025, pain is an ever-present reality. Economic uncertainty, job market shifts, and personal challenges like mental health struggles affect millions of Americans. The American Psychological Association reports that 77% of adults experience stress-related pain yearly. But pain can be a gift if you let it. It strips away illusions, forcing you to confront what matters. Critical thinking is key here. When pain hits, ask, what can I learn from this? How can I use this to grow? Andre, for example, analyzed his restaurant's failure, identifying weak marketing and high costs as culprits. This reflection turned pain into progress. You can do the same. Lost a job? Use the pain to fuel a career pivot, learning new skills. Heartbroken? Channel the ache into self-discovery, building resilience. Pain is a teacher, but only if you're willing to listen. How do you harness pain practically? First, acknowledge it. Suppressing pain breeds resentment. Naming it, through journaling, therapy, or a trusted friend, gives it purpose. Next, reframe it as fuel. When you feel the sting of rejection, commit to one action that defies it. Apply for another job, create something new, or train harder. Finally, seek inspiration from others who've turned pain into power. Read about people like Maya Angelou, who transformed childhood trauma into literary brilliance, or listen to podcasts featuring entrepreneurs who rose from failure. In American culture, stories of redemption are everywhere. Think of the comeback arcs in sports, music, or business. These narratives remind us that pain isn't the end. It's a beginning. These principles, discipline and pain as motivation, aren't just personal tools. They're professional game changers. In America's competitive landscape, where AI and globalization reshape industries, showing up consistently and turning setbacks into strength sets you apart. Whether you're a freelancer in Miami, a tech worker in San Francisco, or a teacher in Chicago, discipline builds your reputation, and pain fuels your reinvention. You'll still feel the weight of exhaustion or the sting of failure. That's human. But you can choose to act, to grow, to let discipline and pain shape you into someone unstoppable. People will notice. They'll wonder how you keep going, how you rise stronger from every fall. That's when you know you've mastered it. Not because life is painless, but because you've learned to use pain to build a life of purpose. As we've explored the power of discipline and pain, we've laid the groundwork for relentless progress. But there's more to this journey. Next, we'll dive into setting clear goals and developing a resilient mindset, uncovering how to chart your path and face challenges with unshakable optimism. Imagine standing at the helm of your life, a clear destination in sight, your path illuminated by precise, measurable goals that guide every step you take. Now picture facing the inevitable storms, setbacks, doubts, and obstacles, and meeting them with a mind so resilient that every challenge becomes a chance to grow stronger. This is the power of setting clear goals and developing a resilient mindset, two cornerstones of Napoleon Hill's philosophy that transform vague dreams into tangible realities. In a world that bombards us with distractions and tests our resolve, having a focused direction and an unbreakable mindset is not just an advantage. It's a necessity. These principles are the compass and armor of the American dreamer, rooted in the belief that with clarity and grit, no goal is out of reach. As we build on the foundations of discipline and harnessing pain, let's dive into these transformative ideas, weaving together philosophy, real-world stories, and practical strategies to help you chart your course and thrive in the dynamic, challenge-filled landscape of 2025. Setting clear goals is the act of turning a nebulous vision into a concrete plan, a process that gives shape to your ambitions and keeps you grounded amidst life's chaos. Without goals, you're a ship adrift, vulnerable to every current of distraction or doubt. But with specific, measurable objectives, you gain direction, focus, and a sense of purpose that fuels action. Hill emphasized that goals are not wishes, they're commitments, written down, broken into steps, and pursued with relentless accountability. This resonates deeply with the American ethos of self-determination, the idea that you can shape your future through intentional effort. In a culture that celebrates big dreams, from Silicon Valley startups to small-town success stories, clear goals are the blueprint for turning those dreams into reality. As Zig Ziglar famously said, "A goal properly set is halfway reached." In 2025, where opportunities and distractions compete for your attention, this principle is more vital than ever. Consider Mia, a 27-year-old graphic designer in Portland, Oregon. She dreamed of freelancing full-time but felt overwhelmed by the uncertainty of leaving her stable job. Instead of letting her dream remain a vague hope, Mia followed Hill's advice. She set a clear goal: replace her $50,000 annual salary with freelance income within 18 months. She broke it down. Secure 3 clients in 6 months, save $10,000 as a buffer, and build a portfolio website. She wrote these goals in a notebook, reviewed them daily, and tracked her progress weekly. Each step, emailing a potential client, completing a course on branding, posting her work on X, was a small action tied to her larger vision. Within a year, Mia had 5 clients, a growing reputation, and enough savings to quit her job. Her success wasn't magic. It was clarity. By defining her goal and breaking it into actionable steps, she turned a daunting dream into a manageable reality. Research from the Dominican University of California supports this. People who write down their goals and share progress with others are 33% more likely to achieve them. In today's fast-paced world, clear goals are a lifeline. Americans face a barrage of choices: career paths, side hustles, personal projects, all amplified by platforms like X, where everyone seems to be chasing something. Without focus, it's easy to scatter your energy, dabbling in everything but mastering nothing. Clear goals act as a filter, helping you say no to distractions and yes to what aligns with your vision. This is especially critical in 2025, with AI reshaping industries and remote work blurring boundaries. Whether you're a student in Miami, a tech worker in Seattle, or a parent in rural Iowa, goals give you control in an unpredictable world. They're not just about achievement, they're about living intentionally, ensuring your time and energy serve your purpose. Setting goals requires critical thinking. Vague aspirations like get fit or make more money lack power because they lack specificity. Instead, ask, what does success look like? How will I measure it? For fitness, it might be running a 5K in under 30 minutes by June. For finances, it might be saving $5,000 by year-end. Break these into daily actions. Run 3 times a week, save $20 daily. Write them down. Studies show handwritten goals increase commitment by 20%. Accountability is key. Share your goals with a trusted friend or mentor, or post weekly updates in a private journal. Mia, for example, checked in monthly with a freelance coach, which kept her on track. This structure mirrors the American value of responsibility, the belief that you're answerable to yourself and your dreams. It's what drove inventors like Nikola Tesla, who set precise goals for his experiments, iterating relentlessly until he lit the world with electricity. But goals alone aren't enough. You need a mindset to sustain them. That's where developing a resilient mindset comes in. Your mind is the lens through which you view every challenge, every setback, every opportunity. A fixed mindset sees difficulties as proof of failure. A resilient, growth-oriented mindset sees them as chances to learn. Hill's philosophy aligns with this, emphasizing that your thoughts shape your reality. A resilient mindset doesn't deny pain or obstacles, it embraces them as teachers, forging you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable. This resonates with the American narrative of overcoming adversity, from the pioneers who tamed the frontier to modern entrepreneurs who pivot after failure. As Carol Dweck, the psychologist behind growth mindset theory, notes, the view you adopt for yourself profoundly affects the way you lead your life. Take Javier, a 40-year-old small business owner in Houston. His catering company thrived until a major client canceled, threatening his livelihood. The financial hit was brutal and self-doubt crept in. But Javier had cultivated a resilient mindset. Instead of seeing the loss as a verdict on his worth, he viewed it as feedback. He asked, what can I learn? How can I adapt? He realized his reliance on one client was a weakness, so he diversified, targeting smaller, recurring contracts. He also joined a local business network, surrounding himself with optimistic, driven peers who challenged his thinking. Within a year, his business was stronger with a broader client base and higher profits. Javier's resilience wasn't about ignoring pain but about reframing it. He chose to see the setback as a pivot point, not a dead end. Studies from Stanford show that growth-oriented mindsets increase perseverance by 25%, enabling people to bounce back faster from failure. In 2025, a resilient mindset is a survival skill. Americans face constant flux, economic shifts, technological disruption, social polarization. X posts amplify negativity from doomsday headlines to personal attacks, making it easy to spiral into despair. But you can choose what shapes your mind. Curate your environment. Follow inspiring voices on X, read books like Atomic Habits or Grit, and seek mentors who push you to grow. This selective input is a form of critical thinking, a deliberate choice to feed your mind with positivity and possibility. Javier, for instance, unsubscribed from toxic X accounts and joined a mastermind group which shifted his perspective from fear to opportunity. This mirrors the American value of community, the belief that who you surround yourself with shapes who you become. How do you build this mindset practically? Start by reframing challenges. When you hit a roadblock, a rejected proposal, a missed deadline, ask, what's the lesson here? Write down one takeaway and one action to move forward. This turns obstacles into stepping stones. Next, practice gratitude. Each day, note 3 things you're thankful for, even on tough days. This rewires your brain to seek opportunity, not defeat. Finally, expose yourself to growth stories. Listen to podcasts like How I Built This, where founders share their failures and comebacks. In American culture, these narratives are everywhere. Think of athletes like Michael Jordan, cut from his high school team yet driven to greatness by a growth mindset. These stories remind you that resilience is a choice, one you can make every day. These principles, clear goals, and a resilient mindset are not just personal tools, they're professional dynamite. In America's competitive landscape, where focus and adaptability are prized, setting precise goals signals ambition and resilience signals strength. A 2024 Gallup study found that employees with clear objectives and growth-oriented mindsets are 30% more likely to excel in high-pressure roles. Whether you're pitching a startup in Silicon Valley, teaching in Chicago, or freelancing in Miami, these qualities make you a leader. You'll still face moments of doubt or chaos. That's human. But with clear goals and a resilient mind, you can choose to keep moving, to see every challenge as a chance to grow. People will notice. They'll wonder how you stay so focused, how you rise stronger from every fall. That's when you know you've mastered it, not because life is easy, but because you've learned to navigate it with clarity and grit. As we've uncovered the power of setting clear goals and building a resilient mindset, we've equipped ourselves to chart a path through life's uncertainties. But there's more to this journey. Next, we'll explore the influence of surrounding yourself with exceptional people and managing your time effectively, revealing how to elevate your potential and seize every moment. Imagine standing shoulder to shoulder with people who ignite your ambition, challenge your limits, and inspire you to reach higher than you ever thought possible. Now picture your days meticulously crafted, every hour a deliberate step toward your dreams, free from the clutter of distractions or meaningless commitments. This is the transformative power of surrounding yourself with exceptional people and managing your time effectively, 2 pillars of Napoleon Hill's philosophy that elevate your potential and maximize your impact. In a world that pulls you in 1,000 directions, endless notifications, competing priorities, and the influence of those around you, these principles are your anchor, grounding you in purpose and propelling you toward success. They embody the American spirit of community and efficiency, the belief that who you align with and how you spend your time shape your destiny. As we build on the foundations of clear goals and resilient mindsets, let's dive into these game-changing ideas, weaving together philosophy, real-world stories, and practical strategies to help you thrive in the fast-moving, opportunity-rich landscape of 2025. The people you surround yourself with are not just companions, they're architects of your mindset, behavior, and future. Hill understood that your environment shapes you, for better or worse. Spend time with complainers and you'll start to see the world through a lens of lack. Surround yourself with dreamers, doers, and visionaries and you'll find yourself thinking bigger, acting bolder, and aiming higher. This isn't about snobbery or cutting people off, it's about curating a circle that challenges you to grow. In American culture, community is a cornerstone, from the barn-raising traditions of the frontier to the startup incubators of Silicon Valley. The right people don't just support you, they push you, holding you accountable to your potential. As Jim Rohn famously said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. In 2025, when X posts and virtual connections amplify influence, choosing who you let into your orbit is more critical than ever. Consider Aisha, a 31-year-old software engineer in Raleigh, North Carolina. Early in her career, she felt stuck, surrounded by colleagues who coasted through their jobs, venting about workplace politics over lunch. Their negativity seeped into her mindset, making her doubt her ambitions. But Aisha made a deliberate choice. She sought out a new circle. She joined a local tech meetup where she met developers who were launching startups, contributing to open-source projects, and sharing bold ideas. Their energy was contagious. They challenged her to learn new coding frameworks, introduced her to mentors, and encouraged her to pitch a side project at a hackathon. Within a year, Aisha landed a senior role at a cutting-edge firm. Her confidence and skills transformed. Aisha's story proves Hill's wisdom: your circle shapes your trajectory. Research from Harvard backs this. Strong social networks increase career success by 20% as they provide access to opportunities, insights, and accountability. In today's hyperconnected world, your circle extends beyond physical spaces. On X, you're influenced by the accounts you follow, the threads you engage with, the voices you amplify. A toxic feed of negativity or comparison can erode your drive, while a curated feed of innovators, thought leaders, and optimists can spark inspiration. This requires critical thinking. Who's in my circle, online and off? Do they lift me up or hold me back? Aisha, for example, unfollowed accounts that fueled self-doubt and followed tech pioneers who shared practical advice. She also sought a mentor, a senior engineer who pushed her to tackle complex projects. Mentors are vital. They've walked the path you're on, offering guidance that saves you time and mistakes. This mirrors the American tradition of apprenticeship, from Ben Franklin learning the printing trade to modern tech boot camps pairing novices with experts. Your circle isn't just about who's around you, it's about who's ahead of you, pulling you toward greatness. Building the circle takes intention. Start by identifying one person whose mindset or achievements inspire you: a colleague, a community leader, even someone on X. Reach out with a specific, genuine message. I admire your work on X. Could we chat about your approach? Most people are flattered to share advice. Join groups aligned with your goals, meetups, online forums, or professional networks. Be a giver, not just a taker. Offer your skills or support to build reciprocal relationships. Finally, distance yourself from negativity. You don't need to cut people off, but limit time with those who drain your energy. In American workplaces where collaboration drives innovation, a strong circle is a competitive edge. A 2024 LinkedIn study found that employees with supportive networks are 28% more likely to innovate. Your circle doesn't just shape your mindset, it shapes your legacy. But even the best circle can't help you if you squander your most precious resource, time. Time is the great equalizer. Everyone gets 24 hours a day, yet how you use it determines whether you drift or soar. Hill's philosophy emphasizes that time is a finite asset demanding conscious management. In a culture that glorifies busyness, it's easy to confuse activity with progress. But effectiveness isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters. This resonates with the American value of efficiency, from Henry Ford's assembly lines to the productivity hacks of today's entrepreneurs. In 2025, when distractions are relentless, smartphones, streaming, X debates, managing time effectively is a superpower that separates the successful from the stuck. Take Marcus, a 34-year-old teacher in Chicago. Overwhelmed by grading, lesson planning, and family responsibilities, he felt his dream of writing a novel slipping away. He was busy but not productive, filling his evenings with X scrolling or low-priority tasks. Inspired by Hill's teachings, Marcus took control of his time. He adopted the Eisenhower Matrix, a tool that sorts tasks by urgency and importance. He prioritized writing, scheduling 30 minutes each morning before emails or social media to draft his novel. He said no to non-essential commitments like attending every school event and silenced notifications during his writing block. Within a year, Marcus finished his first draft, a milestone he once thought impossible. His story shows that time management isn't about finding more hours, it's about making the hours you have count. Research from the University of California supports this. Prioritizing key tasks increases productivity by 25%. In 2025, time management is a survival skill. The average American spends 2.5 hours daily on social media, according to a 2024 study, often at the expense of meaningful goals. Yet, the same technology that distracts can empower you. Apps like Todoist or Notion help you plan, while blockers like Freedom curb digital temptations. This requires critical thinking. What's stealing my time? What's worth my focus? Marcus, for instance, realized X was a black hole, so he limited it to 15 minutes daily after his writing. Saying no is equally crucial. In American culture, where FOMO and overcommitment run rampant, declining invitations or projects that don't serve your goals is a power move. It's what allowed leaders like Warren Buffett to focus on high-impact decisions, famously saying, "The difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything." How do you manage time effectively? Start with a daily plan. Each evening, list your top 3 priorities for tomorrow, focusing on tasks that align with your goals. Use time blocking. Assign specific hours for deep work, like writing or studying, and protect those blocks fiercely. Eliminate distractions, silence your phone, close unnecessary tabs, or work in a quiet space. Finally, review your week. Ask, did I spend my time on what matters? Adjust as needed. In American workplaces where deadlines and multitasking are the norm, efficient time management signals competence. A 2024 McKinsey study found that employees who prioritize tasks are 30% more likely to meet deadlines. By mastering your time, you don't just achieve more, you live more, reclaiming hours for what truly matters, whether it's family, hobbies, or your big dream. These principles surrounding yourself with excellence and managing time are not just strategies, they're a way of life. Your circle shapes your thoughts, pushing you toward greatness or pulling you into mediocrity. Your time shapes your legacy, determining whether you build something lasting or let opportunities slip away. In America's opportunity-rich landscape, these choices are your power. You'll still feel the tug of distraction or the weight of a draining conversation. That's human. But with a curated circle and disciplined time, you can choose to rise, to focus, to surround yourself with those who fuel your fire. People will notice. They'll wonder how you achieve so much, how you stay so driven. That's when you know you've mastered it. Not because you've conquered every challenge, but because you've built a life that amplifies your potential. As we've explored the influence of exceptional people and effective time management, we've unlocked tools to elevate our potential and seize every moment. But there's more to this journey. Next, we'll dive into accepting failure as feedback and making the decision to act now, revealing how to turn setbacks into progress and ignite your path to success. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a dream, having stumbled, fallen, or faced rejection, yet rising stronger, armed with lessons that propel you closer to your goal. Now imagine making a bold decision to act right now without waiting for the perfect moment, trusting that each small step will carry you toward greatness. This is the essence of embracing failure as feedback and deciding to act immediately, the final pillars of Napoleon Hill's philosophy that transform potential into reality. In a world that often stigmatizes failure and glorifies perfection, choosing to see setbacks as stepping stones and taking action without delay is a revolutionary act of courage. These principles embody the American spirit of resilience and initiative, the belief that progress is forged through persistence and bold choices. As we complete our journey through Hill's teachings, let's dive into these transformative ideas, weaving together philosophy, real-world stories, and practical strategies to help you turn setbacks into progress and ignite your path to success in the dynamic, opportunity-filled landscape of 2025. Failure is the shadow that looms over every ambition, a specter that whispers of shame, inadequacy, or defeat. In American culture, we celebrate the victors, the entrepreneurs who build empires, the athletes who break records, the artists who redefine genres. But behind every triumph lies a trail of failures, often unseen, always essential. Hill's wisdom challenges us to reframe failure not as a verdict but as feedback, a teacher that reveals what works, what doesn't, and how to improve. The most successful people don't fear failure, they embrace it, mining its lessons to sharpen their skills and strategies. This perspective is deeply American, rooted in the nation's history of trial and error, from the Wright brothers' countless crashed prototypes to the tech startups that pivot after flops. As Thomas Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." In 2025, when the pressure to appear flawless on platforms like X is relentless, embracing failure as feedback is a radical act of self-liberation. Consider Elena, a 28-year-old entrepreneur in Denver. She launched a fitness app, pouring her savings and heart into it, only to see it flop within 6 months, few downloads, lukewarm reviews, and a competitor's app stealing the spotlight. The failure stung, and posts from peers flaunting their successes deepened her self-doubt. Most would have quit, retreating to the safety of a 9 to 5. But Elena followed Hill's philosophy. She treated the failure as data, analyzing what went wrong. Her app lacked unique features, and her marketing was too broad. She sought feedback from users, studied competitors, and enrolled in a coding bootcamp to enhance her skills. A year later, she relaunched a streamlined version targeting niche fitness communities. It gained traction, earning 50,000 downloads in 3 months. Elena's story proves that failure isn't the end, it's a detour guiding you closer to success if you're willing to learn. Research from Stanford supports this. Entrepreneurs who fail and iterate are 20% more likely to succeed in their next venture. In today's world, failure is more visible and thus more daunting than ever. A flop can be broadcast on X, dissected by strangers, or weaponized by rivals. Yet, this visibility is also an opportunity. Failure teaches resilience, adaptability, and humility, qualities prized in America's competitive landscape. Critical thinking is key here. When you fail, ask, what specific factors led to this? What can I control next time? Elena, for instance, realized her initial app ignored user pain points, so she prioritized customer feedback in her relaunch. This reflective approach turns failure into a roadmap. Look at Sarah Blakely, the Spanx founder, who faced countless rejections from retailers. Each no was feedback, refining her pitch until she broke through. Her billion-dollar empire was built on the lessons of failure, not the absence of it. You don't need to be a tycoon to adopt this mindset. Whether you're a student in Atlanta, a freelancer in Seattle, or a parent in rural Ohio, every stumble is a chance to grow if you choose to see it that way. The ultimate truth about failure is that it only becomes permanent when you give up. Each setback is a step closer to success, a narrowing of the gap between where you are and where you want to be. This perspective is a rebellion against a culture that equates failure with shame. In America, where second chances are a cultural hallmark, think of comeback stories in sports, politics, or business. Failure is not a scarlet letter but a badge of courage. To embrace it practically, start by normalizing setbacks. Keep a failure journal where you log what went wrong and what you learned. Review it monthly to track growth. Seek mentors who failed and thrived. Their stories will ground you. Finally, act quickly after a failure. Don't dwell, take one step, like revising a project or reaching out to a new contact. This momentum, backed by a 2024 Harvard study showing rapid iteration boosts success rates by 15%, keeps you moving forward. But learning from failure is only half the equation. The other half is deciding to act right now without waiting for the stars to align. Hill's philosophy is clear: success begins with a single, deliberate choice to move, not tomorrow, not next week, but today. In a world that tempts us to procrastinate, endless X scrolls, Netflix binges, or the myth of the perfect moment, this urgency is a clarion call. Action, even small and imperfect, creates momentum, and momentum builds the confidence and clarity you need to keep going. This resonates with the American ethos of initiative, the belief that you don't need permission to start, only the courage to begin. As Ralph Waldo Emerson said, do the thing and you will have the power. In 2025, when opportunities move at lightning speed, waiting is a luxury you can't afford. Take Malik, a 25-year-old barista in Philadelphia with a passion for photography. He dreamed of turning his hobby into a career but kept delaying, waiting for better gear, more skills, or the right opportunity. Months turned into years, his dream stuck in limbo. Inspired by Hill's teachings, Malik made a decision: act now. He started with what he had: a basic camera and Instagram. He posted one photo daily, experimenting with lighting and angles. He messaged local businesses, offering free shoots to build his portfolio. Within 6 months, he landed paid gigs for weddings and events, his side hustle growing into a full-time business. Malik's success wasn't about talent alone, it was about choosing to act, imperfectly, today. His story mirrors countless American journeys, from garage startups to grassroots movements, where the first step, however small, changes everything. A 2024 study from the University of Chicago found that immediate action increases goal attainment by 30% as it disrupts procrastination's grip. In today's world, the temptation to delay is stronger than ever. The average American spends 145 minutes daily on social media, often procrastinating on meaningful tasks. Yet, the decision to act now is a rebellion against this inertia. It's about recognizing that the perfect moment is a myth, there's only the present. Critical thinking helps here. Why am I waiting? What's the cost of delay? Often, it's fear or perfectionism in disguise. Malik, for example, realized his wait for better gear was an excuse to avoid rejection. By acting with what he had, he built confidence and skills. This mirrors the approach of icons like Oprah Winfrey, who didn't wait for a perfect career break but seized every opportunity, from local radio to national TV, iterating as she went. You can do the same, whether you're launching a podcast, applying for a job, or training for a marathon. The smallest action, a single email, a 10-minute workout, sets the wheels in motion. How do you act now? Start with the 2-minute rule. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, do it immediately. Send that email, make that call, jot that idea. For bigger goals, commit to one action today. Register for a course, sketch a business plan, or post on X to test an idea. Create accountability, tell a friend your plan, or join a community like a mastermind group. Finally, embrace imperfection. Your first attempt won't be flawless, and that's okay. Hill's philosophy reminds us that action breeds clarity, and clarity breeds success. In American workplaces where initiative is prized, acting now signals ambition. A 2024 Forbes study found that employees who take proactive steps are 25% more likely to be recognized as leaders. As we reflect on this journey through Napoleon Hill's teachings, we see a clear arc. Action is the spark that ignites success, fueled by courage to overcome fear, discipline to break procrastination, and resilience to harness pain. Clear goals provide direction, a resilient mindset turns obstacles into opportunities, and exceptional people elevate your potential. Effective time management maximizes your impact, failure becomes feedback, and immediate action ensures you never stall. Together, these principles form a blueprint for living with purpose, not just dreaming of it. In 2025, as America navigates economic shifts, AI-driven workplaces, and social noise, this blueprint is your edge. It's about refusing to let fear, doubt, or delay define you. Instead, you choose to act, to learn, to persist, building a life that inspires others and fulfills your deepest ambitions. Here's my advice for applying this today: make action your default. Every day, take one step toward your goals, no matter how small. When failure strikes, pause, learn, and act again. Surround yourself with people who challenge you, manage your time like the precious resource it is, and cultivate a mind that sees every setback as growth. In a culture that tempts you to wait for permission or perfection, be the one who moves, who dares, who builds. This isn't just about achieving goals, it's about becoming someone who lives with intention, resilience, and power. Your journey starts now, and every step you take shapes a legacy that will outlast you. Let's ignite this transformation together. Head to the ZENLIGHT 8 YouTube channel and subscribe for more wisdom to fuel your success. Drop the number 888 in the comments to declare you're ready to act, learn, and win. No excuses. Share your goals, your setbacks, your victories. Let's build a community of action takers who lift each other up. Hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs a push, and join us at ZENLIGHT 8 to keep moving forward, one bold step at a time. Don't wait for tomorrow, your success starts today.